Hello and good morning, everyone, and warm welcome to this special session. Thank you for joining us. So, as you all know that to support our students at HitBullsEye.com, we keep on coming with a lot of institutions and colleges and bring their representatives to give a better insight about the colleges and tests and so on. I am Rakesh Rai. I have been with HitBullsEye for almost 20 years. I handle sales, marketing, and corporate relations at HitBullsEye. Throughout my journey, I have guided a lot of students to get into their desired institutions. Today with me, we have our distinguished guest from one of the top B schools in India, that is SDA Bocconi Asia Center. Now, this interaction is bound to give you a deep insight about what actually it is to do an MBA from a top B school, especially in this part of the world. This will also help all the MBA aspirants to have some strategy or maybe get some insight about how to go about the upcoming admission season. You will have some clear picture about how to go about it. So to keep it quick, let's start the conversation with our esteemed guest, Mr. Alessandro Gugliani from SDA Bocconi Asia Center. Thank you, Mr. Gugliani, for taking out time here for our students. I know how busy you have been since last 1 month, so glad to have you here.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. I'm always very happy to be here.
And what I know about him with whatever conversations that I have had recently makes me convinced that he is an authority in higher education, marketing, people management. To talk about anything which is related to sales strategy, he is an authority. So I'm sure we all understand correctly that management education is about managing enterprises well, seeing them grow, sustaining them well, and apart from other things, one thing that has a lot of importance is any kind of system is education and its value system, the kind of ethics, the kind of principles that we derive from the place, that plays a very, very important role in the student's life. That is how this institution came to the inception. Let me introduce you, Mr. Alessandro Gugliani. He is the Managing Director of SDA Bocconi Asia Center, Mumbai. Since its inception in 2012, he is a serial entrepreneur, built companies in Italy, Spain, China, and India. After graduating from Bocconi University in Italy, he started a vast career in luxury marketing with L'Oreal and City Couture in France, with head of marketing for Parma, Zena in Spain and Italy. He sits on the board of the Indian Chamber of Commerce in Italy and of the Indo-Italian Chamber of Commerce in Mumbai. He promoted and launched SDA Bocconi Asia Center, the world's only offshore presence of 50 years old SDA Bocconi School of Management, Europe's 5th business university by FT rankings. All right, people, let's go to the man himself. Alessandro, in 2012, this institution got incepted. How has been your journey, if you can throw some light on it?
Internally, we call it a roller coaster. It's been not easy at the beginning, I have to be sincere. You know, in India, there are several very good business schools. And while we rank in the top 5 in the world, India is another world, okay? And there are other rules of the game. So it was a very steep learning for us, understanding that first of all, it's not only teaching that is important in India. There are other things on top of it, the placement. Normally students abroad are not placed, while we in India, we have to place everybody, which is what we are doing very successfully now, and many other things. So it's been a great learning for us. And after 3-4 years where it was kind of tough, I have to admit, now it's an up spiral, and every year we see multiplying our applications by 5, 10, and the quality going up every year on year. So it's very interesting. You know, it's you rightly mentioned that education is something kind of a mission that entails values, ethics, and growing people, which is what it really happens. And I tell you, for me, now I've been here for 11 years. It's become a mission. It's really impossible to get away from it, because you see students coming in a way, and after 2 years going out that are totally different. And that's what we've been basing our school also on. While I told you we are the top in the world in terms of teaching, our faculty is at the top of the world. We're number 1 by Financial Times in the rankings for satisfaction of the MBA students after their MBA, which tells you a lot, and mainly based on the quality of the faculty. But here in India, we have put on the side also, along the 2 years, an extracurricular set of activities, which is very dear to me, because nowadays, hard skills, technical skills, you have to know. It's a given, but they keep on changing. So you have to keep updating yourself. While something that is much more important is the attitude, that most often is not there. And we have 2 years to change that attitude. Attitude that is about ethics, values, it's about curiosity, it's about details, it's about going the extra mile, thinking out of the box, growing your communication skills, your self-assurance. And I must tell you that I think that's the area where we really made a mark. And now I see many schools that are trying to follow the same path somehow. But our students, when they join the corporates, they're always the best of the batch joining them. And that's because of the soft skills, their teamwork, their communication skills, their thinking differently. So it's been a very interesting journey, professionally and personally.
Right. Awesome. So, all right. So we talked about how the institution is working in India. The first question would be how SDA Bocconi Asia Center is different from other top institutions in India, like AMBs and IITs that provide MBA education, management education. How do you see that?
I would put it on 3 things, I would say. First of all, the faculty. And believe me, it's not because of my faculty, but it's really different. And when people just sit in the class for half day, they realize it immediately. First of all, they are all PhDs. They're all working faculties. So they're all either top executives or entrepreneurs, as consultants, so on. They're also used to teaching across the globe. We have programs in China, in South Africa, in Lebanon, in Brazil, and so on, across the globe. Okay, some 20 of them have been teaching around India also for the last 30 years. So first of all, I would say the faculty is amazing. Then the global exposure. We believe a lot in that. Is not just because the world is global, but because it really opens your mind. It teaches you how to think, how to see problems from different perspectives. So our global exposure goes from the faculty here in Mumbai. Also, we have still, after 10 years, 85% of the faculty comes from the main campus. And there are, I think, about 12 different nationalities teaching here in Mumbai. So, it's very different how a Spanish teaches as compared with a German or an American with an Italian. It's a totally different way of seeing the perspectives of the problems, and that helps you a lot. Then for sure there is the semester in Milan, which is amazing because there we have 15,000 students of 100 different nationalities, and it's a great international exposure. And the third one is what I've mentioned before, is the attention on soft skills, which goes from, we have increased the academic hours on soft subjects like strategy, marketing, HR, and so on, because we thought some more training was needed in India, which is a country that has an education system that is strongly focused on quants, on numbers. Okay. And then all the activities that we do around it, all activities that not only we do a lot of activities to boost the soft skills. Well, first of all, let me take one step back. In the selection already, we have been saying for the 10 years that we are a profile-based school. Now people are starting to say that also, but we really, for us, 10, 12, and graduation is important, entrance test is important, is a given, but the difference in admission and in the tuition waivers that they eventually get is on the personal interview and on the extracurricular activities, because that gives you the potential or the existence already of soft skills. Then the 2 years strongly, and all these activities on top, we have given them to the students. Full responsibility. We track, for sure, we check, but we have some 15 clubs, and each one takes care of some or other activity. So not only they do a lot of these activities, but they get the responsibility, the leadership to lead them, and they have a small budget in certain cases and so on, and they take care by themselves. The same happens for placement. Okay? And we for sure we place the whole batch, but a good part of the batch we've taught the students how to place their peers. Our placecom does a lot of work. This is extremely important because, in India, after a couple of years maximum, everybody shifts jobs. Okay? And this way, they are taught how to properly look for a job. What we teach them and we really guide them is to match the right student with the right company. So students that have different cultures, different attitudes. For example, if we take two broad ones, there are people that are absolutely for an MNC because they want their career, their growth, their path that is well traced. And there are people that are really for startup because they are risk takers, they want a faster growth. But like this, there are 20 different attitudes. So we really try to match the right students with the right companies. And that's why our students normally stay more than those famous 8 months that is the average in India, or 2 years in the same company.
All right, thank you so much. It was very clear and SDA Bocconi Asia Center has the world-class faculty, and I'm very much aware of this. I've visited your institution, I think thrice or a couple of times in the last few years, and I have seen very closely how it happens. I would like to know what, if you can be particular about what kind of essence it brings from the original Bocconi Milan to this campus in Mumbai. What exactly is that essence?
It's totally like being in Milan. So starting from the campus, which we really did 4 hands with the architect from Milan, so that the feeling for the faculty when they come here, the students when they go there, is exactly the same. And that you feel it from the first moment you step into the campus. So I'm waiting for you.
Yes, sure.
And then for sure, as I've told you, 85% of the faculty is faculty from Milan. We work on the systems, on the platform of Milan. The students enroll in Milan directly. They don't enroll in India. They get their master from Milan. It's an Italian master. And so we are really a piece of Milan here in India. And you really breathe it. And we try to bring it out in every moment.
So the next question, the kind of variety we see in India in terms of students, the population is huge. At HitBullsEye also we see a lot of freshers, a lot of people who come with very work experience. So while applying to SDA Bocconi Asia Center with this lot of, I'll say, clutter in terms of the background of students, what do you see, and what is the benefit of work experience of an applicant if somebody has work experience or somebody is fresher? How do you see those applicants as such?
Thank you. That's a very good question because it's one of the fears of the students. And I see absolutely no difference at all. And that's what I always say. So there are differences here and there, but they totally balance one with the other one. So to name a few, from the admission point of view, we know that freshers will be better at taking tests. So we know that they have some more marks as people with experience because they're used to taking tests and exam skills. We know that people with experience will be much better in the interview. So that balance is already. Same thing happens then when it comes to courses. There are courses where if you have some more experience, you understand better what is being taught. There are others where if you are still hands-on on your specific subjects, you are better. That's why we spend the first 2 months doing what we call sort of pre-courses, which are courses where we manage to level the students in terms of attitude, in terms of gelling together and so on. So same thing. Then the next question normally is, what about placement? There is absolutely no difference. There's some 10% of companies that will ask only for students with experience. There are some 10% of companies that ask only for freshers. And for the rest, 80% for them is the same. Some of them might give a slightly higher salary to people with experience. So in the end, it's absolutely the same.
Right. All right. Perfect. So again, in India, you see a lot of population, and so the kind of financial background a student has, varied financial background. You see any college, the kind of applications they get. Now with SDA Bocconi Asia Center, we know that education comes with a price, and compared to West, India has again very, very good ROI in terms of management education at least. So, but even then, I would like to know if there's any kind of scholarship or you give on merit basis or any other criterion that is available. If you can throw light on this.
Yes, absolutely. Well, first of all, now in the first years we were more expensive. Now we are at par with the best IIMs in terms of fees. But yes, we believe a lot in merit. Just like in Milan, we give quite a few tuition waivers and scholarships. Where scholarships are lump sum of 2 lakhs that we give to women with specific leadership skills, or people that have practiced sports or cultural activities at state level or consistently. Or we have the Dean's Award given to people that have a very high average in dental graduation. Then we have the tuition waivers, which is a percentage, 30, 50 or 80% on the fees, on the tuition fees, and is given with the same criteria that we use for admission, which is the average and consistency of temporary graduation, the entrance test, the extracurricular activity, and especially the interview.
Right. All right. Perfect. Thank you. So one more question about the kind of the admission process. Apart from profile, which is very, very important in India, scores play a very important role, the kind of score you get in tests. So if you can throw some light on cutoffs or some kind of benchmarks, if you have, by any chance. You have talked about it, but you can be specific on this question.
Sorry, about the entrance test?
Yes.
We don't have specific cutoffs. Since the first year, we strongly focus on the profile based on the 4 benchmarks that I told you. For sure, we don't go very low. I can give you some averages to get a better idea. Where now I'm not. So I think that in CAT we are around 92. In NMAT we are around 236, if I am not wrong. In GRE 320. In GMAT 680. So these are the average. Okay, but it's not uncommon to see a 90. I've had also a couple of 99ers CAT that we rejected because of lack of soft skills. As much as we have people that are much lower in CAT, but have done a lot of extracurricular activities and they are very good in soft skills. So it really changes a lot there.
Right. Okay. Can you please talk about some internships or maybe some societies that are there in the institution, or what kind of clubs, what kind of student life a student can expect when they get into this SDA Bocconi Asia Center in Mumbai?
Yes, it's a very intense life because there's a lot of class for sure, and classes are extremely interactive. So faculty expect students to read the materials the previous night and then discuss with them what they've read during the class. So you have readings to do at night. You have classes that are extremely interactive, so take a lot of energy. And then you have all the extracurricular activities that start from 5 p.m. onwards till 12 in the morning. And students get very excited that really stay on campus. The campus is always open, stay on campus well after midnight. We have some, I don't know how many now, I think some 12, 15 clubs that cover more or less all the areas. If you want academic areas, so we have the marketing, the consulting, and so on. And we have also some, we call it external clubs. So we have, for example, the TEDx club that not only organizes a TEDx, our TEDx, but takes care of all the marketing and logistics of TEDx Gateway, which is the largest in Asia, with 6,500 people here in Mumbai, live, offline, and some millions online. We have the best Toastmaster club for universities here, and we compete with the corporate ones. We have the best 360 consulting, which is a consulting where we get real consulting assignments paid for the social sector. We are the base of all Asia, South Asia for HAL prize, and so on. Every student, and nobody can take two positions, so that every student has somehow some position in some clubs, some responsibility. In each club, you have for sure the president, and then you have the head of corporate relations, the head of L&D that targets the training of the students. And then there are a lot of live projects. So not only as every business school, we have internships of 2 months after the first year and placement, which is an important activity of the staff and of the students. But at any given time, each student has at least one live project going on. That is why we chose to be in Hiranandani, in Powai, in the heart of Mumbai, because we have at least 50 MNCs and big Indian corporates walking distance from us. Any given time, there are live projects going on. So that's also another activity. So the activity on campus is extremely dynamic. Then for sure, you have always some 15% of the students that just sit back and wait for 2 years till the placement moment, and then they get disturbed that students that were less good get better places. But then there is 80% of the class that is working non-stop with a lot of interaction also with the clubs in Milan. There is a direct connection. Then we have already 7 centers of research of excellence, and students help in this research and then events with the corporates. So it's an extremely vibrant life. It's really two changing years for the students that work at it.
Awesome. All right. So, okay. Alessandro, can you throw some light, or you can share some story of a student who, because you mentor a lot of students throughout once they get into and then when they pass out also, and alumni relationship plays a very, very important role in terms of the current batch, the connection and all. So if you can share a story like how this guy or girl got evolved into something else once they, entered like X and they exited in a certain way. If you can share some story.
Yeah, well, if you want to have an example that I like to bring of a few years back, we had a batch where there were 3 students that kind of didn't make the cut. There is no cut, but still the entrance test was really not there in the grades. But we still interviewed them, and I got struck by their potential. And would you believe that those 3 students, after 2 years, they were in the top 5 salaries of the class and the first 3 to be hired by the corporates. And they are all faring extremely well in their corporates. So that tells you how you need a certain base, okay, but then the difference is made in the soft skills, in the attitude. So that's why these things really push us stronger towards really trying to give the students all the platforms that are possible to make use of this during these 2 years. And then I have many examples in the career also. People that have been, all the people that there is, I told you the lowest 15%, but there is always also a top 20-25%. That is amazing what they managed to do during those 2 years. Every time I'm shocked because they end up with the best grades, but winning competition across the globe, and I'm not exaggerating, in Europe, 4 or 5 competitions, things like this. And then when they go in the corporates, they are like stars, like the best of the batch, being promoted immediately. I have one data that I've received recently that is very good. It's not only about placement. I keep on telling my students, and this data really confirmed it. It is important that the package that you get, and that's why every year for the last 4 years we've been increasing 20% year on year. But it's more important your attitude that you have, the match with the company that you have, the match with the boss that you will have in the company in the first job. So I have the data of the placement of 2 years back, when the average was 11.7 still. Now, 11.3, 11.7. And the data after 1 year, we do it audited because we deliver a master from Europe. So we are obliged to audit the placement and the salary 1 year after placement. So that salary 1 year after is 17 lakhs. You see the increase that has been there 1 year in the package, and even more if you see the functions in the job, in the positions that they did. And then our students are always, when there is an MNC, they are always the first ones to be sent abroad, to be shifted abroad, because of their capacity of relating to different culture and to adapt to this different environment. We have a lot of students that are working abroad.
Right. Awesome. So I can imagine the kind of transformation these students are having, because ultimately the MBA education and this kind of somebody who lands in a post-graduation course across globe, they should have this kind of transformation which comes from inside, and that is how the attitude and the kind of character changing curriculum plays this, and this comes from top to bottom. So very, very delighted to see this and hear from directly from you. Thank you so much. So one last question, because in India, if you see, we talked about variety of students coming in as applications. They see these kind of approvals, AACT approval or UGC. This plays a very, very important role in terms of selecting a college. They don't want to take any chance when they spend so much of amount. How do we counter this? What exactly do you suggest somebody who is looking for AACT approval and is not able to find here in SDA Bocconi Asia Center? How do we see this?
Well, first of all, there is always a misconception. ACT is not an accreditation, but it's a purview. Okay?
Right.
And it's a purview on technical education for Indian institutions. We are an Italian institution with a center here, but students enroll in Milan, and they will be given a master from Milan. It's an Italian master. Actually, it's a master from the European university system, part of the exchange credit system, and so on. So it doesn't fall under ICT. It is actually, we are under the triple crown accreditation, which is what only 1% of the schools in the world get. Is the top 3 international accreditation. Okay, we are one of those 1% schools in the world. So we deliver a master from Europe. We don't deliver, they will not get any certificate or anything from us, from India, which means that it's as if you are asking Harvard to give, to be under the purview of SCT. Okay, it doesn't make sense.
Right.
In terms of recognition, everybody recognizes our masters across the globe, and the same is in India. All the corporate world is very happy to have a Bocconi graduate. otherwise is widely recognized across the globe. And actually, it's being a master from the European university system is extremely easy to be shifted abroad, because you can exchange your credits for shifts of residence or things like this. During the last 3 years, we've had a lot of students that have moved to Canada, for example, and the process was extremely smooth because they were holding credits and the master from SDA Bocconi.
All right. Thank you for giving this clarity. So thank you very much, everyone. We really appreciate that you all took time and came here. And I'm very, very sure that this was something which we'll carry on for the upcoming season, and it will help you a lot in the making strategy on understanding the things. Thank you so much, Alessandro.
Thank you very much. Thank you for what you do, because I've seen also the quality of your students growing year on year. And especially the last 2 years, I've seen really extremely good talent that you have managed to put together and grow. So congratulations.